The Simpsons have a unique ability to predict the future, and 2025 is no exception. With their sharp jokes and surprising moments, the famous family from Springfield has already left us stunned multiple times, correctly predicting what once seemed impossible but ended up becoming reality. And the forecasts for the coming years show no sign of stopping. That's exactly what you're going to see here today. So go ahead and leave your like, click the subscribe button down below, and let's get started. In episode 2 of season 24 of The Simpsons, the show depicted an unusual prediction involving black holes and the Large Hadron Collider. During the episode, a search for the Higgs boson goes wrong, resulting in the creation of a black hole that threatens to swallow all of Springfield.
Feed this, but grease brings raccoons.
Although the story is fictional and packed with the show's usual humor, it references the popular fear that arose in 2008 when the LHC, the world's largest particle accelerator built by CERN, was inaugurated. At the time, some conspiracy theories claimed the collider could create microscopic black holes capable of destroying the Earth. Despite that, CERN scientists explained that any black hole formed would be unstable and dissipate almost instantly, posing no danger. Once again, The Simpsons combined creativity with pop culture and science. But now the big question is, could this be a sign that any moment now a black hole will start sucking in cities? One of the most memorable moments of The Simpsons in terms of surprising predictions is in the episode Bart's Comet from the 6th season, originally aired in 1995. While its main premise is humorous, the episode addresses a topic that later became a real concern: the impact of celestial objects on Earth. In the story, Bart accidentally discovers a comet on a direct collision course with Springfield. The town panics and tries to use a missile to destroy the comet, but the plan fails, and the residents end up resigned to their fate. However, in an unexpected twist, the comet burns up upon entering the atmosphere, leaving the town virtually unharmed. What makes this episode fascinating in terms of a prediction is that it satirically reflects the global fear of a catastrophic impact caused by asteroids or comets. Decades later, humanity invested in technology to detect and divert possible space threats, such as NASA's DART mission in 2022, which successfully changed an asteroid's trajectory. Beyond that, the episode accurately captures human reactions to crises, from the initial panic to poorly planned solutions, and finally, to resigned acceptance. Honestly, with so many strange things happening on the planet, maybe a comet heading for Earth wouldn't be so scary. But just to be safe, let's hope it remains only a joke and not a true prophecy. The 2007 film, The Simpsons Movie, introduced one of the most iconic plots for the Yellow family. The city of Springfield is sealed under a huge glass dome. In the story, this extreme measure is a response to an environmental disaster caused by Homer, who seriously pollutes the town's lake. To contain the contamination, the United States government decides to quarantine Springfield, literally cutting the city off from the rest of the world. This premise, which seemed absurd and over the top at the time, turned out to be an eerie foreshadowing of real-life events. During the COVID-19 pandemic, which began in 2020, many cities worldwide experienced similar isolation measures. While no actual physical domes were used, the idea of locking down entire cities and regions with severe restrictions on entering and leaving became a reality. Countries across the globe implemented strict lockdowns, and large-scale containment of an invisible threat went from fiction to everyday life for billions of people. The Simpsons movie not only predicted the concept of mass isolation, but also explored the social impact of living under restrictions. The residents of Springfield react to the quarantine with panic, denial, and even rebellion, humorously portrayed, yet provoking the question, is it just comedy? If you keep up with the news, you know new viruses are being discovered out there. Could we be on the brink of another pandemic that locks cities under domes? One thing The Simpsons have predicted multiple times is new technology. In episode 9 of season 34, Bart Simpson, portrayed as a down-on-his-luck musician, receives an invitation delivered in a futuristic way, a hologram brought by a mail carrier. While the episode is largely satirical, that particular scene caught viewers' attention for its connection to advancements that are inching closer to reality. In recent years, the potential of holograms to revolutionize communication has attracted major interest. Tech companies have been exploring ways to use holograms for more immersive interactions, be it video conferencing, presentations, or even live events. One iconic example was rapper Tupac Shakur's holographic appearance at the Coachella Festival in 2012, which left the audience amazed at the possibility of bringing an artist back to life so realistically. In The Simpsons, using a hologram for something as routine as delivering mail might seem like a minor detail, but it was a bold vision reflecting ongoing research. Nowadays, companies like HoloConnects are working to make holograms a practical, accessible tool in everyday life. Imagine getting a message, invitation, or even advertising as a hologram appearing right before you, doing away with paper or devices. Though we're still a ways off from seeing holograms become as commonplace as smartphones, current progress in this field suggests it might someday happen. Thus, The Simpsons once again demonstrate their knack for anticipating technological trends, turning futuristic concepts into part of their creative storytelling. In 1998, The Simpsons aired an episode that became notably relevant years later as tensions rose again between global powers like Russia and the United States. In that episode, Homer, who works at a nuclear power plant, ends up being sent to a submarine as part of a military training exercise. During the exercise, by complete accident, he ejects the submarine's captain into Russian waters, sparking an international incident. In response, Russia reveals that the Soviet Union never actually dissolved and, in a shocking twist, rebuilds the Berlin Wall. Soldiers and tanks then appear on the streets, and the escalating tension between the two nations starts dominating the episode.
Berlim reunificada. Como isto é bom.
This installment grabbed attention for its portrayal of political strains in Eastern Europe, specifically between the United States and Russia. Despite its exaggerated and comedic tone, typical of The Simpsons, it mirrored genuine global concerns of that era. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, many people couldn't help but recall that episode's storyline. Screenshots and clips resurfaced, and comparisons to the real political climate arose, evoking memories of a Cold War revival. Al Jane, the series producer, commented that this prediction wasn't particularly challenging, since he spent a large portion of his life under the shadow of the Soviet Union and always believed something like this could happen. Ironically, even though nobody wanted it to become real, the episode seemed to capture the dynamic between these two nations with unsettling accuracy, illustrating a scenario that unfortunately played out in reality. So the question looms, just like in the episode, could the Soviet Union truly come back? Have you ever thought of taxing something as basic as the sun? It may sound absurd, but in episode 23 of season 6, Mr. Burns sets off a citywide crisis by stealing oil from the school and blocking out the sun in order to boost his solar energy profits. His scheme enrages Springfield's residents, who depend on sunlight for farming and everyday life. When he's later found shot, the mystery is who pulled the trigger. Eventually, it's revealed that Maggie Simpson was the one who fired the gun, accidentally. It's a satirical episode, of course, but it raises an interesting question about the future of solar energy and potentially even owning the sun. As bizarre as it might seem, the government of Brazil created a new law, Law 14,300, that changes some rules. Now, people with solar power systems must pay a fee to use the electrical grid to distribute their excess energy. This fee won't apply immediately to those who already have the system installed. Consumers who set up solar panels before 2023 are exempt until 2045, so they don't need to worry for now. For those installing solar panels from here on out, they'll have to adapt to these new guidelines. The fee kicked off at 30% in 2024 and will gradually increase until 2029. The idea is to ensure that over time, the cost of maintaining the grid is shared by everyone, not just those without solar energy. So it looks like The Simpsons weren't that far off in predicting that even the sun might get taxed in the coming years. An episode from the 23rd season of The Simpsons, Them, Robot, presented a surprisingly prescient take on how technology could affect the human workforce. Airing in 2012, it shows Mr. Burns firing all the employees at the Springfield nuclear power plant and replacing them with robots, except for Homer. Initially, it sounds innovative, but things soon go haywire when Homer tries to humanize the robots, teaching them how to play baseball and act like people in certain scenarios. Chaos breaks out, especially as the robots start banning Homer from drinking beer or doing other things, triggering major upheaval in town.
Now let me raise this beer to toast. What the? Alcohol is harmful to humans.
Yeah. Save your breath.
Although exaggerated and humorous, the episode addresses a very real concern: the rise of artificial intelligence and automation at work. Even if it's just a comedic take, it foreshadowed a topic that has only grown more pressing. In recent years, with technological leaps, many jobs have been replaced by machines and automated systems. Between 2023 and 2024 alone, thousands of workers in the United States lost their jobs to automation, roughly 5,000 positions. Amazingly, though it first aired over a decade ago, that prediction was remarkably on point, and the trend is expected to intensify by 2025. Worrying about AI and robots displacing human labor is no longer a distant scenario. It's an imminent reality. In the episode Bart to the Future, which aired in 2000, The Simpsons offered up a chilling prediction: a potential military conflict between the United States and China. In this future storyline, Lisa Simpson, now grown up, takes over as President of the United States following a disastrous term led by Donald Trump. She inherits a massive debt to China, a direct result of the previous administration's failures, heightening tensions and further complicating relations between the two nations. What makes this forecast so intriguing is that the episode is set during Donald Trump's presidency. With the 2024 United States election bringing Trump back to office, the scenario feels even more relevant. The implication is that if tensions between the two countries intensify, 2025 might be the year when things become unsustainable, pushing the world to the brink of a major conflict. While the show never specified a precise timeline, its prediction resonates with actual challenges the United States faces today. Time will tell if this prophecy comes true. In one of The Simpsons' most outlandish episodes, the show toys with the idea of a zombie apocalypse that starts in a very silly way. It all begins with the launch of a new burger at Krusty Burger. This burger is made from cows fed with other cows' meat, which obviously leads to total chaos. The reporter who tastes it turns into a monstrous creature, and soon, a zombie epidemic overruns Springfield. Perhaps the most intriguing detail is that, amid the mayhem, Bart becomes the key to the cure. He survives after eating the contaminated burger, so everyone believes his blood might save humanity. It's all total madness, but it raises an important question. Are The Simpsons predicting another, even more severe pandemic? Of course, the episode pokes fun at zombie apocalypse tropes, but the notion of an epidemic spread by tainted food isn't far-fetched. Genetic manipulation and new diseases that can emerge unexpectedly are real concerns scientists have been discussing for years. So, even with the absurd zombie angle, you can't help wondering whether contaminated food could someday trigger a global crisis. Widely known for their bizarre and at times spooky predictions, The Simpsons have also dipped into apocalyptic themes. In various episodes, the show references biblical elements like the rapture, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and even the Antichrist. A standout example is Thank God It's Doomsday, where Homer interprets signs as heralding the end of the world, creating a hilarious yet symbolically rich parody. Additionally, there are moments in which characters such as the Four Horsemen appear in comedic yet disquieting form, galloping through a Springfield consumed by chaos, complete with fires, plagues, and scenes of despair.
Que depositei minha fé na ciência e na tecnologia!
Oh, por que eu resolvi ser gay?
Of course, The Simpsons are known for comedic exaggeration and social satire, but they still plant the seed of doubt. Are these jokes merely jokes, or is there something more? Could the end of the world really be near? At any rate, it's hard not to feel a slight chill. As mentioned, The Simpsons have predicted many future technologies. Could flying cars be next? In episode 7 of season 14, titled Special Edna, the family visits the House of Tomorrow, a futuristic-themed park illustrating how technology might transform the world. One scene showcases humanity's longtime dream, flying cars.
World of tomorrow. Don't walk, fly. In your personal Eastern Air.
This idea of gravity-defying vehicles has been talked about for decades, yet remains outside our current reality. Even so, several companies are investing heavily to make that dream come true. Will this finally be the moment? We already have drones and self-driving cars, so perhaps in a few decades, crowded roads could be replaced by vehicles floating through the skies. In the Simpsons movie, Homer instigates one of Springfield's greatest environmental disasters. It begins when he adopts a pig and, instead of disposing of its waste properly, stores it in a makeshift silo. But then, in a moment of sheer laziness and irresponsibility, he dumps the contents into the town's already polluted lake. This single act makes the lake so toxic that the government resorts to an extreme measure, placing a massive dome over Springfield to contain the contamination. Although the movie is a comedy and takes everything to outrageous extremes, it raises the possibility that we could be looking at a prediction of environmental disasters brought on by our own negligence. In real life, there are countless environmental issues caused by human recklessness, from oil spills to improper waste disposal and river pollution. With climate change and constant environmental crises worldwide, it's not hard to imagine that in 2025, our lack of care could lead to something like what happened in Springfield. Don't forget to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this.